Hey, what's up, everyone? Just want to take a quick break from working on my SRS Guardian League Start Guide to talk about something that a lot of people are talking about, but I wanted to give a more high-level just overview of the options that we have here. And that is the new reworked or updated Simplex Amulet from Heist. So Heist got a pretty big rework this coming patch, by them removing alternate quality gems. All blueprints are now just a base blueprint type. There's no, experimented uniques, alternate gems, anything like that. It is just blueprint, and then the rewards at the end are significantly buffed, and they are random based on every single possible thing in the pool. You can get anything there. So you can get some currency, alternate base types, anything like that. Our intuition here is that the chance for the best things is going to be kind of rare. So, take everything that I'm talking about with a grain of salt in the fact that these might be difficult to get. So previously, the Simplex Amulet had -1 prefix, -1 suffix, but 25% increased explicit modifier magnitudes. But now you only get one prefix. It's -2 prefixes, but still -1 suffix. So you get one prefix and 2 suffixes on your amulet. And the possibilities with this are pretty wild. The Simplex Amulet is now very competitive in the amulet slot compared to even Ashes of the Stars, any other rare amulet. So obviously something like Crystallized Omniscience is very specialized. And what I want to do is just kind of go through the modifiers that we can look at here and get a rough idea, just like start to brainstorm a little bit about what we can see on an amulet. So obviously, if you care about the quality of your gems, the Ashes quality effect is worth a lot for your build. And so that's going to be very valuable for particularly builds that care about that. But there's certain things that you can go for here that are pretty special. And the first one that everyone's focusing on right here is +1 level of all skill gems. Because this is now doubled, all of these will now go up by 2. So previously, you could get +1 fire and +1 all. Now, we only get one prefix. You got to remember that. But now, instead of +1 fire, +1 all, we get +2 all. And so comparing that to previously crafted rare amulets like a Righteous Fire multi amulet, any Ignite multi amulet, that was kind of like the go-to and the hard to craft amulet. It's actually kind of a little bit easier to craft the baby version of that. So for example, instead of having to go for +1 all and +1 fire, you can just go for +1 fire. And this is not that hard to hit. So to craft up something that's like a really simple, modern Righteous Fire amulet, I actually think with this amulet, because of the 100% increased effect of explicit modifiers, and then the fact that we can also use Catalyst for this, is just an essence of increased fire damage is really, really strong here. So for example, if we look at what we get, this is 34%. That's actually going to be 68% plus an additional 13. I'm not going to try to do my math as I'm talking here. That is 81% increased fire damage. That's going to be our one suffix that we're going to go for. And then we can craft cannot roll attack modifiers. So let's put that on there. We used one essence. Then we craft on cannot roll attack modifiers. If you've ever crafted any of these amulets before, these steps look very, very familiar. Remember, we only have 2 suffixes total. So we're just going for one modifier on the essence. So you can use your essence, using a null, just try to isolate that one mod. It's about as deterministic as it gets. We're going to do add remove in harvest right here, and we're going to add fire because the only 2 fire prefixes that we can get, remember, suffixes are now currently full. The only 2 prefixes that have the fire tag are fire to attacks and +1 fire. And so by just doing this, we are guaranteed to hit +1 level of all fire skill gems. This is not quite accurate, right? So it removed that armor modifier. That was our filler mod. This would be a 50-50 in that it could remove your increased fire damage or your cannot roll attack modifiers. The nice thing about this is it's just a 50-50 using a single essence, and it's a very, very simple step. So you may have to do the add remove a couple times. And then all you have to do is craft your final suffix and you're done. So, what are we going to go for here? We can go for res. Minimum charges are really good because now since it's doubled, you'll get 2 on the minimum charges. So you can get +2 minimum endurance charges. But even just crafting fire and chaos res, that's 30 fire and 30 chaos res because remember, they are going to be doubled. So if this were catalysted up, what we'd be looking at here is +2 level of all fire skill gems. What was that? 81% increased fire damage and then 30% fire and chaos res. We don't know what the price of the base type is going to be. It might be kind of expensive, but actually crafting this amulet is very, very easy. And so as long as you can get your hands on the base type itself, being able to craft incredibly powerful stuff may be also incredibly simple. But I also just want to kind of go through modifiers here and call special attention to things to just show you why I think this is so incredibly competitive. Simple example right here, elemental damage with attack skills. That 50% is now 100%. Granted, that's your only prefix on your amulet, but you get 100% increased damage on your one prefix. And then that's not even counting adding in 72% crit multi. So 100% increased damage, 72 crit multi, and yeah, just toss 70% chaos res on top of that for your last suffix, right? Looking at these numbers doubled, sometimes with an additional 20% on top of that with Catalyst, it really shows like some potential here. So just take 89 max life right here. If you just get a T1 life roll, you're not even going for much else. You can just take that 89. The quality of the Catalyst is additive, so it's 120%. So times 2.2, 195 flat life on an amulet. Just T1 life. You're not going for anything else. You could just have 195 flat life. The physical damage to attacks, average 20 phys right there. We'll get 42 average physical damage to attacks on the amulet. That's pretty sick. 48% cast speed. I'm leaning towards kind of wanting that on my SRS build. Like that could be pretty sick. 39% all res. That's, all of you, half your resistances are taken care of right here with a single modifier. 52 dot multi, etc. But where the real juice is looking at influenced modifiers. So there's going to be some really, really big crafts here. Increased mana reservation efficiency of skills. This would go to 22% if you had the quality on it. This now makes this a really compelling mana reservation efficiency amulet. So replica Dragon Fangs went from 10 to 15% reservation to 5 to 10% reservation. Because it's a random roll and you can't divine it without losing the skill gem that you're modifying, your average, you're looking at a 7% increased reservation efficiency of skills right there. Whereas on the Simplex amulet, granted, these are really hard to roll for. These are stretch items. But you could go for +2 level of all skill gems, not just your primary one. And with the Catalyst, 22% increased mana reservation efficiency. And we still get one more modifier as well. A lot of people are talking about Quantum Rarity. This is going to be really, really compelling. I know Tuna's talking about it a good amount. Quantum Rarity is going to be really, really hard to roll for, but this will be insane for Magic Finders. Going for regular dot multi and fire dot multi, this is 52 plus an additional 40%. 102% dot multi on the amulet, that's absolutely insane. Any attribute stacking. If this number doubles, I'm not 100% sure, but if this goes to 2% damage per dexterity, and you can go to 18% increased attributes, and that would go to 121 dexterity. Like, this is going to be hard to craft. As someone who's crafted a mirror tier dex stacking amulet in the past, it is awful. It is not fun. But at the very, very high end, if you want to throw mirrors at something, these are going to be the amulets that you go for attribute stacking. And then here's what I think are the really compelling big ones. So the mana reservation efficiency right here, some of them go to 60%, most of them go to 50%. So we're going to focus on the 50 ones. These are kind of like the ones that people don't care about as much. Wrath, Zealotry, Anger, Determination, Pride, all of the big damage ones, Hatred, Anger, Wrath, all those guys. So currently, these go to 50% increased mana reservation efficiency. You already see where this is going. 50 times 2.2, and you get 110% increased mana reservation efficiency for one of your auras. So for example, I have 14% unreserved mana currently. If I go to 22% of all of my reserved skills, and this is an Eldritch Battery setup, so it might be moderately different for you based on what you have. I also have one primary aura, and then I have Tempest Shield and Skitterbots. So it's a little bit of a different setup. If I had like Grace Determination and Vitality Clarity, those would probably be affected better. So you have to check it against your build. But in an Eldritch Battery setup like this, my SRS Guardian, if I go to 22% generic, I have 27% unreserved mana, 257. But if I put in Determination at 110%, that actually brings me up to 32% unreserved mana, 310. This gives me enough unreserved mana to just kind of go crazy. I think that's the big thing I really want to demonstrate to you guys is just going over the mana reservation, showing that, at the very, very high end, you could get for +1 all and mana reservation efficiency, and then you have one of the best amulets in the game. But even if you just go for life, since the Fertile Catalyst works for both mana and life, the life would actually go up by 120%, and you'd have 121 flat life crafted with 110% increased mana reservation. That is a 1 mod amulet with crafted life, and then, hopefully just get some sort of res or something on there as well. And yeah, it's actually really, really easy to craft. These aren't that low weight, right? 500 weight's not awful to hit. In terms of honorable mention, I think there's a lot of really fun veiled modifiers. 32% increased area of effect, 40% melee damage, possibly goes to +4 melee strike range. I think that feels really good. 50% proj speed, 40% proj damage. Crafted non-channeling mana cost, that would go to 15 mana cost if you just craft that as your only prefix on the amulet. That's a really cheap and easy way to, just solve all that. Flat mana on a mana stacker as well, that's 78 times 2.2, 171 flat mana, and then you can stack intelligence on top of that. There's a lot of really, really compelling, cool things here, and I think we're only scratching the surface. But yeah, that's it. A lot of people are talking about this amulet, but I wanted to just go through some modifiers and show you guys a couple examples of things that look really, really compelling. This is probably going to be a pretty rare amulet. I do think it's going to be kind of hard to find. It might be the holy grail of heisting, which, you know, please heist for me. I don't want to do it. Someone else get in there. Maybe I'll heist this league. I don't know. Maybe I'll have the motivation to do it. Thanks for watching, guys. I'm going to go get back to working on that SRS League Start guide, and I'll see y'all soon. Goodbye.